Welcome to the Nature Codes. I'm Amira Daly, a nature channel healer and mentor devoted to guiding women back into alignment. Through the wisdom of nature, I work with rituals, meditation, channeling, and light language to support deep energetic transformation. The Nature Codes podcast is for those wishing to reconnect with their inner light, transform the space they live in, and connect with the healing codes and wisdom of nature. Come with me on this path. Welcome to the Nature Codes. In this episode, we are going to be talking about how we can exit the matrix, the societal expectations of us, so that we can follow our own unique path rooted in our power, our purpose, our higher self, and our soul's blueprint. This episode includes channeled advice from Mother Nature and light language from the earth herself to help shift our energy to move us out of the matrix and instead root ourselves into the earth once more. When I was working a 9 to 5, I was exhausted, I had low mental health, I was not happy at all. I was just not enjoying life. Even though I was working in the media, working in TV, doing a job that I thought was the best kind of job that I could do for me because I loved like the interesting nature of it and like the research, the writing, the creativity of it. I loved all of that. I just couldn't help think that there was something else out there for me, something that I was meant to be doing. And in all honesty, I struggled with this for, I would say, the first 40 years of my life. I really just didn't, I kept thinking there must be something else. What is it that I really want to do? Like, I knew from an early age that there was going to be something that would light me up and I'd want to work rather than being forced to work. I knew that from when I was a child, and I just wasn't able to find it. I wasn't one of these children who was like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a teacher. I would flip from one idea to another and just never settle on anything. And when I started working in TV, it was kind of almost accidental and it was a really quick decision. Although it was on my path because I had been getting signs about me working in TV from an early age. I've always bumped into famous people randomly, or my sister was really into drama and she was a stand-up comedian. I felt like I was always part of some kind of media circle in some way. So yeah, it was definitely something that I needed to do as part of my path, but I just knew that that wasn't going to be it. And the more I struggled with the 9 to 5, the energies of the people, I think I was sensing also some darkness in the media industry, and it was really like affecting my mental health. It was really making me sick. Even though I didn't look like I was sick, I was drinking too much, partying too much, I had anxiety, I did not feel connected to myself. In hindsight, I think I was completely disconnected from my body. Well, not completely because that would be death, but I would say 90% of me probably wasn't in my body most of the time. And that is quite a realistic thing. Apparently, the majority of us are rarely in our body. So I've worked on clients where I've seen 95, 98% of their spirit is not in their body. And this is a very, very common thing. And I think that this also feeds into illnesses because if people aren't in their body isn't receiving the life force that that is needed to sustain their cells and their organs and just their being. Your body massively suffers without having connection to your soul. You're meant to be a team, you're meant to be working together. So if you are unhappy and you are not on the right path, you will feel it. And I certainly did. And I think it's because I had such a higher calling in life that I really suffered from it. Because some people's, raison d'etre, their sole purpose is to be a nurse or a doctor, and that's what gets them up in the morning. That's what their soul is here to do, and that's brilliant. But I just knew that mine wasn't what I was doing, and so my health got worse until I got pregnant, but it was a real struggle because I was suffering from PCOS. And in all honesty, that is what propelled me onto my healing journey, because I so struggled with fertility that I tried everything. I tried diet, exercise, I tried completely quitting alcohol, which was quite hard at the time. And I went to see a Reiki healer, acupuncture. I moved out of the city, and all of those things got me pregnant. I know that if I hadn't done those things, I wouldn't have a 5 and a 7-year-old today. So the things that really shifted me was diet, exercise, quitting drinking, taking myself away from the noise by moving to the countryside. But for me, because I'm so energetically sensitive, that was a big factor for me. It's not always the case. Like energy work, so Reiki, acupuncture. If I hadn't done all of those things, I don't think I would have succeeded in my fertility journey at all. Amazingly, I got pregnant, and then because of that, it propelled me onto a spiritual path. And I had not been spiritual before because I had been brought up in a very science, even verging on religious, because we went to, I went to a convent, and we were all always in Saudi, we were amongst a lot of Muslim people. In England, it was very Catholic. My mum was brought up Catholic. So we had all these religious influences, although none of us were particularly religious. I just know that no one was spiritual. So none of my friends were, everyone was very sciencey. Not that you can't be sciencey and spiritual, but at the moment there's such a divide, which actually is another podcast because they shouldn't be. I think I did a podcast a while back on the science and can science and spirituality coexist. It might be worth checking that podcast because that was a really interesting conversation. My spiritual side came up a lot later than most, and I know that this was the case because, I realise now that I wasn't meant to be spiritual till later in life. I was meant to be living a quote unquote normal existence, because I was in a unique situation where I had had a past life very, very soon. In fact, bordering on at the same time as when I was born. So I had a very distinct route where I had to really rest the first stage of my life, because I'd been through such a deep life before. The first so many years of my life was actually to rest and to not delve into my spiritual self. So there came a point when the switch just flipped, and all of a sudden I was getting messages from spirit. It was right, you've had your rest, now is your work. So I very, very quickly started seeing spirit, started getting messages, even to the point where I'd literally turn on the TV, and I remember this so distinctly because I was really shocked. I turned on the TV and it was on the full volume. It was so loud, it literally hurt my ears. And as I turned on the TV, this cartoon was shouting it was like a conversation in the cartoon, shouting, "You are psychic." And I was like, what? What? And I turned the TV off and I sat there and I was like, okay, I think I'm being told that I'm psychic, because they had to resort to actually shouting at me to tell me. So yeah, it was a mixture of lots of different signs, and that was probably one of the extreme ones. I mean, there was a lot. It was basically like I was living a normal life and then a switch had turned on and I was now living like some kind of magical existence where I could see spirit, I could talk to spirit, I realised I was psychic. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And so I had to overcome huge societal expectation because I was in the media, I had a science background, all of my friends were sciencey, very, very few had any inclination towards spirituality, and I basically had to lead a double life for a little bit. And slowly, I started to move myself away from people who weren't accepting of my spiritual side. I don't mind having friends who aren't spiritual, but it's when it's you're made fun of, or yeah, all of that. So I kind of removed myself from certain circles. If you've been doing the inner work, healing, growing, shifting your energy, but something still feels off, like your environment just isn't supporting your journey, this is for you. It could be that there's stagnant or stuck energy within your home. As you rise and expand, your space can sometimes hold on to those lower or misaligned frequencies that begin to weigh on you, holding you back. Using my nature-based healing modality and light language, I work to shift your space back into resonance so your environment fully supports the version of you you're becoming. I invite you to visit my website where you can learn more and book a free consultation. Your transformation isn't just within you, it's around you too. Which was hard, and I had to go through some deep healing work. I basically walked in nature every single day. I was like completely cleansing my system basically, because I was living this life that was not me. And I realised for the first time that I'd been living like a life that wasn't me. Yeah, so that was quite a tough time. And eventually I found a spiritual course with this amazing mentor, Kiara Nala. And that was like finding home, because I was with this amazing group of people who all came from similar backgrounds, all with similar gifts, and like I felt like I belonged somewhere. That's where I learnt my light language. I learnt to channel properly. I learnt to protect my energy. I learnt how to meditate, to release trauma from your body. And that's where she also aligned us with our higher purpose, and that's where things started to all fit together from that moment on. I then later found a mentor who was amazing, Claire Newcomer, Asta Holistic she is, and she basically completely shadow worked me. For 6 months I was going through generational trauma, past life traumas, and I was slowly removing myself from all this darkness in across my family generations and across past lives that were holding me back. And that's when I channeled the nature codes modality from Atlantis, because I had found out that I'd been an energy healer during the Atlantis times, and unfortunately my modality was some of the codes from my modality were used by the dark forces to bring down Atlantis and bring down humanity essentially. And I carried massive grief from that. And so part of my path has been to dissolve that grief, I would say, put that behind me and realign myself with my modality, which my modality is part of me. It's not like an external thing. It's actually like my soul is the modality. Now I feel like I'm back home, like my modality is going really well, and yeah, like I overcame huge societal expectations of me. I quit my job. I was financially quite insecure for a very long time, and that took its toll as well. It was quite a hard period of time, but I was so dedicated, and I had such a knowing that I was on the right path, that no matter what was thrown at me, like at the start, I was not very good healer, like because I didn't have my modality and I had so much trauma. I knew that I was a healer, but I didn't like I tried so hard and it all came from the best place, but I didn't realize how much trauma was blocking me and how ungrounded I was. And so I tried lots of different things and nothing really stuck. And then, yeah, once I found my modality, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the most powerful thing like, I just saw my own power and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So yeah, I've gone through the whole shift of being so tied to other people's expectations, societal expectations, darker energies, being tied to like all of that stuff. And I've slowly but surely moved myself out of that and onto my higher path. So I know now that I have the tools to help other people do the same thing, basically. And one of my clients is going through a similar process at the moment. She's always been spiritual, and she has always known that she's psychic. She can channel, but at the moment she's going through a shift where she's actually moving out of her apartment in the city and moving into a camper van to basically start her healing business from a camper van. And like, just it's beautiful because she's basically showing people that they can live a different life. You don't have to be tied into the matrix, the working a 9 till 5, saving up for a mortgage, paying rent. Like, there are other ways. There are ways where you can show your higher purpose, your individuality. Like, we think that we have to fulfill certain things, and there's so many examples of people getting to the top and being like, well, this isn't that great, because they haven't followed their own soul purpose. They followed what other people and what the world is expecting of them. And when you start following your own purpose, your happiness increases at the same rate as you are like moving away from other people's expectations and into this new life that is purely yours, and that was your plan for your soul. Your happiness will rocket, your mental health will be like good, your health will be good, your body will feel happy and whole, and like your soul's in your body because you're not like fighting against your soul. She's working through that at the moment, and I've been working with her with the nature codes, and I've seen huge shifts in her. She was really struggling with banks, insurance companies. They were basically trying to claw into her and keep her from rising. But when I put boundaries in place and energetically cleared her system, literally within days, all of the problems from the banks, insurance companies, all of those issues just drained away, and things were easier. She was able to find good insurance for her van. She was able to just do all of the things that she wanted to do. But at the time before the healing, she was really, really struggling to do any of it. My modality basically allows you to find your higher timeline, dissolves societal expectations from your system, dissolves any darker energies tying you down to a specific generic life that's not actually part of your calling. And it just helps with the process of shifting into your higher timeline, basically. And then I had another client who was feeling, because she was actually a deep shadow worker. She was moving people's traumas, basically, and she spent a lot of time doing that. And she was struggling emotionally, and she was having headaches and lots of health issues because the work she was doing, which was amazing, was taking its toll on her. And I did my Nature Codes modality on her, and within days, her headache stopped. She said that she received so much clarity that she's in a completely different place. Like, she completely shifted away from those lower frequency feelings and is integrating all of the things that she's found out about moving forward with her life. And it's when I see these kind of shifts in people, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And I'm so glad that I stayed on my path and wasn't knocked off by all of the things that were thrown at me. I stuck at it, and now I can see shifts in other people, and it just really lights me up. I'd just like to also tell a story to do with nature symbols and a client. I was talking to a new client on the phone, on Zoom, and I was explaining the nature codes and what it could do for her. And she was explaining to me her problems and issues and what she'd been struggling with. We hung up and we had a plan in place of what to do. She messaged me saying, just after she hung up from our call, a woodpecker started calling from her garden, and it's like one of her favourite, well, it is her favourite bird, and she's been wanting to see a woodpecker for a while now, and she's kept asking the universe, but she didn't receive it. And then literally like a few minutes after our call, symbolism of woodpeckers are persistence and determination, awakening hidden truths, communication from nature, protection, and building foundations. Just like, I know the power of nature signs. Like, this happens to me all the time. I will get certain animals coming to me with different messages. So I know that the universe uses nature, and nature literally guides you with these symbols, and just like the synchronicities of it were really cool. Now we can move into a message from Mother Nature with her advice and wisdom on this topic, followed by light language from Gaia to shift our energy and connect us to the earth once more. I see the disconnections that have unfortunately shown themselves and allowed these energies to prevail on Earth. The Earth has been unable to prosper because of this disconnection that has occurred. The people are not connecting with the Earth. They are not being held by the Earth, and instead plugging into an external form of AI-controlled matrix. Something artificial, not real, not organic, not linked to their own original power. They are instead linked to something very artificial in nature, which is not serving their own higher purpose. It is serving a system which does not see an individual's soul path, needs, wants, or natural energy. It keeps the people away from their own individual power. It keeps them in the dark, unable to reach their true potential on Earth, because they are serving a force which is not rooted in an unconditional love. It is not rooted in the ability to connect with the interconnectedness, the oneness of the universe. Instead, it serves those that work to control, divide, and conquer. This is the truth. From birth, children are being born into this false matrix, a false energy. Through their parents, they are unknowingly being connected to this false light, and it takes a lot to be able to untangle from this energy, a lifetime of not being able to reach their pure potential. All souls come here with a mission on earth, to learn, prosper, and be a change maker in the world, to help the earth and its people prosper. Now is the time to spread this message of hope, that we can remove these ties to this false matrix, keeping humans small and away from his or her own power. This can be done by realizing and seeing that this has occurred. See the world for what it is. Ask to be connected to the earth once more, for the earth is the original connection that humans should be plugged into. Meditate, touch the earth, connect to the heart of the earth. Bring your attention away from the false light and instead move towards seeing the earth for what it truly is. A conscious life giver, a beautiful soul in its own right. Connect yourself to that energy instead. Follow your instincts and not those that have been imprinted in you from this false light. Follow your gut instincts. Trust yourself. Trust your own power, your own light. Allow the earth to heal your wounds, your traumas. Slowly but surely, you will be taken back into your own power, your own soul, your own original blueprint. With so much love and light, I thank you.
Aya moya ina mora I aika ma ina mora I luna I mora ika ina mokora namaha oya I alira ina mokoya moya ina mora I onkora I onkoya I aina ai oi ai ai oi ai ai oia moia ina moia ino raia oia I aia ino moia I oia I oia ina moka ina mora I luia ina moka ina mo I kai rona I allora ina mora I ancora I aina ia ia oia I moia ina goia ina oi oia I no gore nema I oma ino goia mora ina aya oia I gai ra I luia ina moia I onkai noia ina moia I omakina I oia I ola ina mora I onkora ina maina oia I aina ina koia ika ina mai ora ina moia ina ika rosna I luia I oma ina mora I lura ina mora ina mokorana I lura ina mora ina mora ina mora I.
Thank you for listening to the Nature Codes podcast. I am so excited to be sharing all of this with you in the hope that it might spark something within you. An energy to care for yourselves, your home, and your spaces, so that together we can more gently and powerfully support the healing of the planet as a whole. If you would like to know more about how I can support you on your healing journey, whether that's working with your energy, your space, or both, please visit my website. You'll find all the links in the show notes below, including how to book your free consultation. I'll see you in the next episode.